let's start out with, and this is something, and we can kind of go back and forth on this one. So one of the biggest issues that I run into around custody and divorce cases is I feel like probably about 50% of the time, by the time dad gets to me, he's already moved out. And so can you talk a little bit deeper about kind of the issues as the process plays out if dad leaves the home prior to any divorce proceeding really getting going?
Well, if that happens, he needs a really, really strong father's rights attorney to help him ensure that he's going to be able to level the playing field. You need someone who understands the biases of certain judges. Judges are humans. They're affected by their own experiences. I could probably take a sheet of paper and list certain judges who I think are very fair to dads, and certain judges who I think have a strong bias toward mom. And but when the client comes to me, I look at what county are they in, who's their judge, very important question.
Yeah.
Who's the counsel on the opposing side? I'll try and work with opposing party or opposing counsel to get dad fair visitation. If we find that we're getting resistance on that, then it's time to start filing a motion for custody and visitation time, to get somebody who has some power over these folks to be able to hopefully level the playing field. And then the other thing is I tell my clients to create a documented trail of their attempts to be as involved as possible in their kids' lives. For instance, asking for weekend parenting time, weeknight parenting time, all these things to show the court that dad is trying to be active in his kids' lives. Because there's a code in Georgia, OCGA 19-9-3, which lists 17 factors that the judges can consider in making a custody determination. One of those factors is who is the parent most likely to foster and encourage a healthy parental relationship between the other parent and the child. And
friendly parent factor.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to use that, friendly parent factor.
That's what we call it out here.
That's good. That's good. We'll use that. So I make sure that I'm loading up as much as I can for my client on putting that one in his favor. And I take my clients through those factors for custody determination. I even did a 5-part video series some years ago. It's actually out on YouTube, and viewers here can probably go look it up. And I'll probably retag it or recut it so it's easier to find. But I go through the 17 factors for custody determination in detail in Georgia. If anyone has questions, they can email me, they can call me, and we can talk about those. But it's very important to look at, okay, out of the 17, probably 5, 6, 7 of them are probably going to be ties between the parties. But then we got to look at, okay, where does dad stand strong? Where is he likely to prevail and get the tick in his favor? And where are his vulnerabilities? What are the things that he's doing or has done that could potentially be a vulnerability in a custody case? We talk about all those things. And what we're doing is we're trying to resolve the case, but we're also building our playbook for going to trial if we have to.
Yeah.
We don't wait until everything is broken down and we're 3 weeks or 4 weeks out from trial to first start talking about how we're going to put on a case to try and get our client equal or better parenting time and custody with the kids.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing about it is leaving the home, and you mentioned it, you put it brilliantly there. There are instances of domestic violence allegations or being the victim of domestic violence that necessitate that you leaving the home. But I see far too often that essentially the guy gets sick of what's going on and he just ups and leaves, goes and gets an apartment, goes and stays with his brother or his mom or his aunts, whoever it may be. And then all of a sudden there's a lack of access. And until there's a court order in place, there are no rules.
Right.
Both of you have 100%. I always tell clients that the easy way to put it is both of you have 100% legal and physical custody until a judge says otherwise.
That's right.
So
and I've had cases, I'm sorry to interrupt. I've had cases where mom moves out. I had a case last year where mom moved out, went back to her parents in northwest Georgia, took a 2-month-old baby, and it took a court order and about 3 months of time for us to be able to get dad rights to be able to see his baby. And maybe it was longer. It was probably about 6 months. So he was out of this baby's life for the first, basically 6 out of the first 8 months of this baby's life. And that's just wrong. And by the way, remember I talked about how the judge's own experiences and proclivities can affect this. That particular judge that we had was not the kind of judge you want to do this with. And we prevailed for that client. And he sent us pictures. He had tears in his eyes. He couldn't stop thanking us when he finally was reunified with his daughter. And so that felt really good to be able to do that for him and just to right a wrong.
Yeah, but you mentioned 6 months. This takes time, and so I'll use a tennis analogy. It's kind of an unforced error that a lot of men make before getting counsel. And I mean, hey, I think as family law attorneys, I would probably say this number may be low, but stats are out there that 70% of divorces are filed by the woman. I would probably argue, in my experience, that's probably on the low end. Yeah. So you get blindsided by something, you get upset, you leave, and all of a sudden, the playing fields may not be even to begin with, but you've definitely made it more difficult because now when she has an attorney, they're going to be like, oh, look, the kids are already living with her. He's not involved.
Right. And there's not supposed to be any presumption, even with a temporary order, that let's say the temporary order gives mom temporary primary custody. There's not supposed to be any presumption that that's how it's going to be in a final. But you know what? If you're dealing with air hardening clay, the shape that you put that clay into, the longer the time goes, the longer this temporary order stays in place, the more the clay hardens into the shape that it was put into. And it gets very hard to change it after the fact. So all you dads out there listening, don't leave your home. Call me, call Mark, call one of the other people in your state, and let us get going on your case before you make that move. Because once you move out, it's really hard to pick up your stuff and move back in. Yeah. And it just creates chaos for the kids.
Yeah, definitely. So another thing you just mentioned, and this is one of the things clients look at me sideways, or I guess individuals who come in for consultations with me, one of the first questions I ask will be, okay, what courthouse are you at? And then who's your judge? Yep. Who your judge is can make a huge impact. I mean, I'm here in Riverside County, San Bernardino County, Orange County. Really, in those 3 counties, you give me a situation, and I can probably with pretty good certainty guess what a judge's temporary order is going to be on that situation. Yeah. And that's one of the benefits of having an attorney. And Ed, you mentioned this. It's a situation where if there's a certain situation, a certain facts pattern, we've probably seen something similar, and we're going in front of this judge, we can better position you to have the outcome you want because we know what that judge wants. We know what that judge's tendencies are.